wee impromptu drive to Edinburgh. It's a lovely day, so that's alright. Me just being one of my spies, thanks to Taylor, sent me a wee message this morning, linked me in a bass for sale, and after me saying there's no other basses, no other guitars that I want, an Ibanez Roadstar bass was one of those that was on the list that I'd forgotten about. So I'm off to Edinburgh to pick up an Ibanez Roadstar bass. Roadstar. I think the guy said it was 82, 83, something like that. It looks in pretty bad nick. He said it looks like someone's tried to paint it with hammerite, which kind of matches my Blazer, to be honest. I think the reason this happens is the same reason with my Blazer. They're kind of Ibanez Blazers and Roadsters from this era were kind of natural finish, and I think that wears off and chips off pretty quickly, like within the first 20 years, and then somebody, then we're now talking, it's like, oh, it's the early 90s and folk are picking them up for 50 quid in terrible condition and deciding they're going to paint them like metallic hammerite blue. It's actually, my Blazer was painted, wasn't metallic blue, it was gloss blue with something like hammerite with a brush. So this one might be the same, so I might have to paint it, which means I miite have to do a dip thing, which means I might actually try and make it look a bit like my Blazer. It'd be nice to have I do have a bit of a fetish for having the matching guitar and bass set. Quite a few sets. You put it, the Aria PE bass and guitar, the Aria ZZ bass and guitar, the Thor Sound bass and guitar, I suppose the Wing series, the Force series, the Stage series, yeah, got a bit of a, just trying to justify having so many guitars, having the matching guitar and bass set is nice, not so bothered about colour, more just the type of bass. So this one has two P-bass pickups, which I've never seen before. I think it might have been modified. Seems to have an awful lot of knobs on it as well, so I might need to make a scratch plate for it and reduce it back to what it's meant to be. Don't know. I've never seen a bass that's good. I've seen plenty of PJ configured basses where you've got like a P-bass pickup and then a jazz bass pickup in the bridge. This one has a P-bass pickup and then a P-bass pickup in the bridge. So I think that's probably been fitted afterwards, but the guy said the neck is wonderful on it, so that's the most important bit. The rest I can chop together myself. Yeah, I just got somewhere as well with making a foot switch for the Carrollton amp as well. I bought a 5-pin, looks like a MIDI socket thing for the back of it, so I could make my own foot pedal. And then after buying it was only a couple of quid, realised that I don't have any 5-core cable. So I was like, oh, and I was looking, that's just a MIDI lead. So I've actually just cut up a MIDI lead, and I tried joining the terminals together with a screwdriver, and it was changing the switches on the amp. So it's like, it's just momentary switches. And I got a pile of broken Marshall foot switchy things off my pal. I'm not really sure what era Marshall they were from, but I've kind of mocked them up, and I was just about to solder it up to connect it up to see if I could make the foot switch work when I got a phone call back from this guy. I'd imagine he's probably had quite a lot of responses to it. I was just incredibly nice in the message. If that's the case, you kind of like, oh brilliant, oh, looking for these for ages, da, 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 which I kind of have, to be honest. When I saw my pal Ivor's one, it was like, although his isn't exactly the same, his is a couple of years later. His has got like a 4-a-side headstock, like a P-bass, whereas this one's a 2-a-side headstock, which kind of looks a bit odd, but it does have that, it does look good. Why does that guy get his headlights on? Just because he's got his headlights on. Yeah. Okay, excellent. So, nice big long drive for me. Already regretting wearing this jumper because it's actually quite hot. But it's good to get some fresh air. I'll open the window once I finish doing this video and breathe in some of that fresh air. That's me just coming into Kilsyth just now. It's going to take me about an hour to get to Edinburgh, and luckily hopefully by the time it is, it's just now 2:30, so I'm hoping I'll be in Edinburgh 3:30 and I'll be heading home before any sort of rush hour, which would be lovely. That last time when I was in Preston Pans, which I'd never heard of the place until I bought that wee Blackstar app, and honestly I've seen half a dozen interesting guitar-y things for sale on Facebook Marketplace, innit? Preston Pans. I'm not even sure how you pronounce it, I'd never even heard of the place. And then these things show up. I think maybe it's just one of those things, it's like when you buy a new type of car. I always remember, you know, when I think I'll buy a Ford Focus, I don't really know what they look like, and then you realise that every second car on the street is a Ford Focus, just because you get your eye in on them. Same with the Panda, I keep seeing Pandas as well. Cool, so rock on, I'll see you in Edinburgh. This guy's got a rehearsal room, what's he said? I can't remember. A gash kit. He's got the bass isn't actually at his house, it's at his lockup, which is just 100 yards down the road. I was like, you're on the way, you've got like a rehearsal room type thing, you got a drum kit and all that, and it was like, I've got a gash kit. But my drummer's got a real big kit. It's quite funny when you talk to the Edinburghers. He's full of the Edinburgh accent. He's like, okay, you sound like you're from Glasgow. I am, yes. So I don't know what it's like all over the rest of the world for accents. I know it's like, you know, obviously there's big differences in America when you go from like your New York to down in Alabama and all that, but these places are thousands and thousands of miles apart. I'm going, I don't know, was it 40 miles, something like that? And I'm already in coincide, so it all starts being funny, and it just gets more funny. When I say funny, I don't mean that in a derogatory sense. Get further away from my accent and more towards the hey. I like it. Folk for the East Coast always sound dead happy. I was like that in Glenrothes. They'll always be up there like that. Well, hey, woohoo, yeah. Cool. See you in Edinburgh. Hey, so I've got my Ibanez Roadster bass. It looks like somebody's made the scratch plate, possibly upgraded put an extra pickup in it. But the neck is wonderful. It's got the original tuners. There are bits missing from the tuners, but I will fix them when I get home. Yeah, lovely guy. Again, said he'd had millions of folk phoning up about it and stuff, but he thought he would do the honourable thing. It's like, yeah, just be nice. Is that because I was so nice in my reply? So I thought I'd better give you a shot. I was like, my guilt plan worked. I was like, it did. Yay. So it looks really nice.
Take the next left onto Braid Road.
Looks like the body's quite split in a few different places, but I mean the body's the body. It doesn't really matter. Wee bit nice. I'm a bit worried about my car actually. It started making a horrendous grinding noise when I'm under power in the small gears, and then it seems all right in fifth gear. So I'm going to limp home. I don't know what that is. It doesn't do it when you've got when you're out of gear. You know, when you're freewheeling, so it's not. I don't think it's a wheel bearing, so I don't think wheels are going to fall off. I don't know. I wonder if it's my clutch. But that sounds really bad. It goes away once you in fifth gear though.
Continue for half a mile.
It's really bad. So I'll maybe give a bit of a call out. I'm too used to driving dodgy cars. It's like this car just got its MOT. It's completely gone in fifth gear. So it's something, well, it's not the gearbox. I think gearboxes are expensive. If it is, I wonder if I can take the gearbox out my last one, because I seem to remember the clutch in it going. So it's had a recent clutch, like 5,000 miles ago. So maybe it might be worthwhile just swapping them both over. I don't know anyone who can do that. As Scott's just, what I really need is a mechanic who also plays guitar, who can fix cars but can't fix guitars. That would do me nicely. So if you are that person, you've got guitars you want fixed and set up, and you know how to fix cars, then give me a shout.
The next left onto Buckstone.
Hey YouTube, so I'm back.
I did say only last week that I've run out of guitars that I want. One of the things that was kind of, I did kind of want an Ibanez Roadster bass. So this is the one that I got from Edinburgh yesterday. I've not done anything to it yet apart from one of the pots was totally shot, so I've replaced that, but it's definitely not, it's not done yet by any means. So this is a 1983 model. Check it's got the big bolt-on plate, which I kind of like. It's been badly painted, or it's been painted with metallic paint at some point. This scratch plate has been handmade, and an extra P-bass pickup has been put in the bridge. So yeah, but we've got the original solid brass bridge. The neck is a one-piece maple and it's fantastic. Got the original tuners. They're missing washers though. In old tuners there's a wee plastic washer that goes between this bit and the shaft that always just disintegrate. So I will find something to put in there to get them working, but they're working as they are. Yeah, so got the original P-bass pickup. One of them, what's it called, a P4. I looked up. It's a RB 720. So it's the top of the range on that page. Don't think the tone works. Tone doesn't work. So I like it already. It's a belter. It's really weird having the 4 tuners on the headstock on like a P-bass type bass, but in 1983 this is what they did. In 1984 they went to more the Ibanez Blazer shape, you know, the four side. So there is another pickup. So this is the extra pickup, which might be an expensive one. It's got the cloth braided wire on it, which sometimes makes them expensive. The neck on it's wonderful though. Both pickups on. And this switch is like I made this mistake before when I had one of the first guitars I ever wired. I thought, oh, I'll just buy a switch. It's a big AC switch, so the block on the back of it's about that size and it goes, it's a big clunk. But what it does is it knocks them into series, so you get like a big double humbucker. Can you still turn the volume down on one of them? That's just a bypass. Yeah, so these pots are rubbish. Whoever it was that decided to modify this, and I'll go for 20 years ago anyway, when this was painted and the new scratch plate was made. It's possible that the scratch plate was broken, because what often happens with like P basses and sweating, I just had to walk to the shop. I think the Panda needs a new gearbox. I'm not thinking about that just now. So when they replaced them and the wiring's done with like big thick house wiring, so that will all be getting ripped out and started again. So the guy was very nice. He priced it right, to be honest. It wasn't the mega bargain that I think everyone who probably phoned after me thought it was. It does need quite a bit of work. So I've not decided exactly what to do yet. It's like having the 2 P-bass pickups. I would like the idea, see if this P-bass was here. I quite like the idea of having these 2, which would give you a sort of EBO sound maybe, and a normal P-bass sound. But I was complaining. Actually, even yesterday I was doing a video on a bass, the Stag one with its jazz bass pickup, and it's I don't need those sounds. I just want the bassy sounds. So I was undecided exactly what to do with it. I think I'm going to have to paint it. Well, I'm going to have to paint it. It's also got quite a lot of big cracks in the body, but I don't know whether that's just in the poly coat that's in below this or whatever. So it might have to get sanded back to bare wood and then start it again. And obviously I'm thinking I could never replicate this one, my Blazer guitar, but something along these lines might be quite good. Should be quite a nice wee set. And make a new scratch plate, because one of the things that annoys me is, say there's a wee hook here, you can see it there, but a hook there, it's not on the scratch plate, it's just rounded, and the scratch plate should have a wee hook in it. So I'm thinking aluminium tread plate, new scratch plate which I can paint white or whatever, and possibly filling in this pickup hole cavity and then making the scratch plate more like what it should originally be. I don't know, it's quite good that I've got kind of a blank canvas, and if this was much better condition I couldn't do any of these things. So because it's a bit knackered anyway, apart from the neck, which is brilliant, it was a wee bit mouldy, like mould on it, but apart from that it's clean now. Yeah, so I'm wondering, I do actually have another one of these pickups, or one that looks very similar, you know, with the DiMarzio type hex pulls on it, from the Washburn Force 4 bass, which I've just got a new Washburn Force 4, the one with the knackered body. I'm thinking if I could maybe put two pickups here and here and just not bother with this one, or do I put 3 in it? Is that stupid? Or do I, you know, there's options. I'm not really happy with this layout the way it is anyway. This switch is far too big. It has to go, and so it would normally obviously just be a P bass. But the thing is, I've got a P bass, so the idea of making it do something else would be nice. Well, it's still in funk, isn't it? Also, the other thing is this scratch plate isn't held on because when it's screwed down, I think something touches earth. I think it might be the big massive switch, so it just cuts out, doesn't make any noise at all. So it's hovering a little bit just now. See, that's just a P bass pickup on its own, and it's kind of the best sound in it. So you will be seeing this again when it's a bit more fixed up. I'd rather decide whether it would be pretty cool having a 3. Well, in saying that, I've got a bass I got off Buster that I've still not bothered fixing up. That you put 3 P bass pickups in, so it wouldn't be a first to have the 3, but I don't know. It kind of looks a bit, just aesthetically not very pleasing. The way this goes round, it's kind of like it kind of wants to be a bit more here. And if I'm going to be stripping it and painting it anyway, that's the opportunity to fill the hole of these 2 pickups. But then I put 2 neck pickups in. I can always ignore one, but it might be quite good for the Sabbath one. I was actually even thinking, rather than painting it, I might paint it after the end colours. You know, like a purple body, grey scratch plate, black pickup might look pretty good. And then that could be my Black Sabbath bass, because it's ticking an awful lot of boxes for me. It balances really well. It's got a 1-piece maple neck, and it's a 1983 Ibanez Fujigen built guitar. These knobs are huge as well. To get, I don't know what, to get that one off was a nightmare. It'd been stuck on with some sort of rubber glue. The thing, I don't understand why, because it's got like a wee screw, a wee tension screw on it, so you can just put it on any side shaft and screw it in and it fits. That's how it's on just now. But whoever it was did it before thought, oh, I'll put rubber glue in there. So it took me ages, and I broke the pot was already not working, but I ended up pulling the shaft out the pot just to try and get it to bits. So it's kind of, it just basically, minimum it needs a rewire, a total rewire. Also, I noticed that one of these, you can't see it in this, you can see the cracks in the wood. I'm not sure whether how deep they'll go. The back's worse. See there? I don't know if is that going to be the wood, or is that the poly coat that was on this before, or something else. We don't know. But these two, the covers on these two pickups, this one's a sort of shiny black and this one's a matte black. That annoys me. Obviously it doesn't matter when the bass looks like this, but once it's all cleaned up, it's going to look fantastic, and having slightly mismatched pickup covers is going to look shit. It's actually amazing, see, looking when you play the neck, that this bass is the same bass that had this neck. I mean, it is. It's got to be. But the neck's just so nice, and the body's so horribly ugly. So I've got my Roadster bass. So now I don't have any more guitars that I want. I was looking at one. It was actually not that dissimilar to this. It was one in the same similar era, but it didn't have a scratch plate, and it was kind of pearly and a bit more chamfered, and it just looked too modern. It was 3 times the price as well a couple of months ago, and I was kind of looking at it going, oh, I want a Roadster bass, but I really wanted one like my pal Ivor's, which is, well, it's got, apart from having the Blazer type headstock, you know, the Ibanez headstock, 4 aside, it's pretty much like that. I don't think his was maple as well. I think his might have been had a rosewood fingerboard. I prefer maple if at all possible. So Ibanez again, doing what they do, taking a P bass, making it better than a P bass. Pretty much, it's just like a high spec P bass. It's quite good reading the catalogues for these things that we're talking about. They talk a good game. The first page in the 1983 catalogues, like you're reading it going, oh yeah, it's like it's all about resonance and using computer programs to do the whole bass, not just like, okay, the pickups make a difference, the bridge makes a difference, everything together is what makes the guitar, and they've all got to be great and all these things. It's kind of sort of a bit clinical and stuff, which I think is a wee bit what Ibanez do. That's how you end up with your Scott's Ibanez Apache attack helicopter one, the J-Craft thing. It's just, everything's just absolutely millimetre perfect and all pure, so you just end up with the best guitar you can possibly have. Which I think this, although it's still maybe a little bit the best guitar you can possibly have, but it's still got to look a bit like a P bass. But one of the best P basses I've ever played. It's just so weird having the short headstock. It feels funny when you look at it. It kind of, it's like, I don't know. It feels like it should be like a, I don't know what guitars I have. My Hondo or something like that. It's got this before a side or an EBO. Rock on! Catch you later.